Are your current behaviors getting you closer to your goal? Yes or no? And I don't want any details. I don't want any circumstances. Yes or no? What you did yesterday, did it get you closer to the goal that we decided upon? Mostly you, but I helped reiterate when we started this journey. Yes or no? If the answer is no, you're hoping.
Already on that path, genuinely, if I were to show you the compound effect of the numbers, I guess how do we get people to identify when they're hoping versus when they're like, no, I'm gonna do this.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another very special, as always, episode of Next Level University, where we show you how to level up your life, your love, your health, and your wealth. We hope you enjoyed our latest episode. Oh, yeah? We did a live mastermind on the questions you should ask yourself if you want a next level life. Somewhat difficult episode in terms of a lot of those questions were hard hitters, but we genuinely believe those are the most important ones to get you to the next level. Today, for episode number 479, we are going to ask you a simple question. Simple yet powerful. Are you hoping for a better future, or are you preparing for one? He says.
So normally I dive into why we're doing this episode, but I want to kick that to Kevin, because this was your idea, and I feel like you had a really good story from your childhood that is a good contextual builder.
I feel like this table's off a little bit. So, when I was in high school, I had a group of friends, and we were convinced that when we were in our early to mid-20s, we were going to be traveling around the United States in a Winnebago that one of us bought. So just think of like a really big driving RV, very nice. We were going to be towing dirt bikes and four-wheelers, and we were going to have the women of our dreams. And we were going to be wealthy. And we had no idea how any of this was going to happen. Believe it or not, it never happened.
Right.
Just never happened, right? I'm not really friends with these two gentlemen anymore. But I think that the visualization of that is amazing.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Like, you have these thoughts of, I want to travel around the world. Look at what Charlie Jabaley's doing. If you guys don't follow Charlie, he's driving around the country in a Winnebago changing the world. Like, he stole my idea. Damn it. But it's amazing to have that visualization. It's amazing to be able to think of like, well, that's really what I want. The problem is we didn't put any emphasis into planning it. We didn't strategize at all. We never measured our progress. We never even started. It's something that we always talked about. We hoped that we would get there. We hoped that would come along. Right? I don't know how, but the reason we're doing this episode is because I think a lot of people, and it's a concept that we talk about, but we never really question it that way. A lot of people want more money. Mm-hmm. They want a better relationship. They want a better body. They want a new job. They want their dream life. But when they say it, you can tell that they're hoping that it's going to happen, and they haven't tried anything to get it that way. Mm-hmm. You can literally tell when you say, another great example. And this one, like, made me sad a little bit. But, and I won't use any details, but I was out with somebody, and we were talking about cars. And Taryn said to this person, tell him about the car that you want, the Batmobile. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, my dream car is a Mercedes-AMG GTR, blah, blah, blah. And the guy was like, oh, if we're talking, like, dream fantasy cars that we'll never have, this is what I want.
Interesting.
And in my mind, it was like, yeah, but I really intend on eventually getting this.
100%.
And there's a difference. When I say it, I'm planning on getting it, and I'm working every day to be able to get that and everything else, and this person is hoping. Yeah. And that, for me, was painful in terms of, like, most likely you're never going to get that.
Yeah.
And most likely I am, because that's one of the things I'm working for. I'm planning for that. So we wanted to jump on here today and ask you the same question of, like, if you're saying, I'm going to have my dream relationship, my question to you would be, what are you doing to get your dream relationship?
Right.
I'm going to have more money. I'm going to be financially free. Amazing. I love that. What are you doing now that's going to get you that result? Are you hoping for it, or are you preparing for it? Because if you're hoping for it, you're probably in trouble. Right? Like, you're probably in some trouble. I think you should always have hope, but I think you should also have a plan.
100%.
That's my 10-second blip. So we're not done, but that's my 10-second blip. Remember that, because I'm going to forget it.
What was it? Reiterate? Did we already forget
It's gone now. No.
It's gone.
No, I'll remember it.
Okay. You're in a great mood today.
I'm in a very good mood.
I love it.
Yeah.
Good.
It's great. It's a great day. It's Monday. It was Halloween. It's cold out. I love when it's cold.
Did you do anything for Halloween?
Yeah, we watched some TV show and ate a little bit of candy.
Nice.
That was
We had some
it.
candy last night too.
You gotta have a little bit of
We had
candy.
Starburst and Skittles.
So happy belated Halloween to everybody.
Yeah, happy belated Halloween. So this has been going to be launching Wednesday.
This will be Wednesday, yes.
Yeah, so belated. So I wanted to ask you a few questions. So one of them, you just told that story about this other person who, we're talking like dream fantasy cars that we'll never get. What would you tell to that person if they were really ready to sincerely listen?
Honestly, I don't know, because if that's the goal, I don't know that you're willing to do what it takes to get it. Right? Like, again, that car, it's like a $220,000 car, the car I want. That's outrageous. That's a lot of money. It's a very expensive, very luxurious, you may never see one in your entire life car.
Really?
It's the nicest car Mercedes makes, realistically. It's like a supercar. You bring it on the track. But that's not why I'm doing what I'm doing.
Right.
Right? So it's almost like you could get it, but are you willing to do... It's almost, in a weird way, when you are preparing for it, it's real.
Right.
Like, there's a big difference between dreaming of having the most successful podcast, or dreaming of having the studio, right? Or dreaming of, going to a Brendan Burchard event. And then there's another thing of like, well, actually prepping for it and signing the paperwork and booking the flights and booking the hotel. And I think it's easy to hope. It's easy to hope because you don't really put that much emotion into it, right? But when you're preparing for it, it's different. It's a completely different life. So I don't really know what I would say.
When you talked about your car, the $220,000 car, when you say that to me, there's no part of me that doesn't believe that you'll do that if you want it. When you say it to other people, what's their reaction?
They think I'm crazy. Some people, like Matt, doesn't.
Right.
Shout out to Matty Heisman. His car he wants is like $150,000 more than mine.
Right.
So to him, it's like, well, you should pick a better car. That's kind of how he thinks.
See, that's such a trip, and that's just a testament. It's not what this episode's about, but it kind of is a little bit. Who's around you?
It's so important.
It's so important. Literally, when you said that, there's no part of me that thinks you can't do that. It's just a matter of whether or not you will and whether or not you want it bad enough.
Yeah.
I talked to you about that quote. It's a little book by Og Mandino. It's called The Greatest Salesman in the World. And there's this one quote that I've read 5 years ago, and it keeps coming up for me. Failure will never overtake me if my determination to succeed is strong enough. If you want something bad enough, you will find a way. You just will. And, there are people that own that car, right?
For sure.
So why can't you?
Right.
There's no, when it comes to the studio, you use that as an example. I honestly think that from the moment you set that intention, it was something you intended on. It didn't feel fake. It didn't feel like hope. It felt like we're going to have a studio. And it felt very real. I don't know. You can tell the difference when someone says, like, when I say I intend to be a millionaire, like it's not a question. Yeah. I'm already on that path, genuinely. If I were to show you the compound effect of the numbers, I guess how do we get people to identify when they're hoping versus when they're like, no, I'm gonna do this?
I think, what are you doing to move the needle? Like,
Right.
What are you doing to? One of the questions I'll ask a client is, are your current behaviors getting you closer to your goal? Yes or no? And I don't want any details. I don't want any circumstances. Yes or no? What you did yesterday, did it get you closer to the goal that we decided upon? Mostly you, but I helped reiterate when we started this journey. Yes or no? If the answer is no, you're hoping. If the answer is yes, and again, yes, circumstance happens, but let's be real. Like, let's say this is, if we were to take the average of your last few weeks.
Right.
Are you moving a needle, yes or no? No, you're hoping. You're hoping that these things are going to happen by chance and by accident.
Right.
And obviously, yeah, we talk so much about intentions and the law of attraction and all of that, of course. But at some degree, that requires action.
Right.
Like the law of attraction. There's action in there, right? There's action in attraction.
I've never heard that before.
I haven't either. I just made it up, and I don't know if it's true or not, so don't quote me on it.
Attraction.
But it makes sense.
No, it is.
It makes sense. So I think...
Interesting. Attracting the action.
How about this? You just said you look leaner.
Yeah.
Right? You look like you've lost a little weight.
Yeah.
I am preparing to lose. I've been preparing to lose weight. I didn't just say like, what did you say before? Like, how's the fitness thing going? I don't really care that much.
Right.
Right? I wasn't hoping I was going to lose weight.
Right.
I wasn't hoping because I knew I wasn't making any progress. But when I decided I wanted to, I prepped. I prepared.
Yeah.
I started weighing myself, right? I started eating less. So I just think,
I've started that too.
right,
Yeah.
right. So
But it was intentional.
of course,
Yeah.
of course. That's the thing. Are you
Right.
acting intentionally with the outcome you desire, or are you? Because I remember I used to be that way. I thought swiping right for me on Tinder was going to get me my dream relationship. And believe it or not, Taryn and I met on OkCupid or Plenty of Fish.
Right.
Believe it or not.
So it kind of did in a weird way. I think that's where people get mixed up.
It did in a weird way, but then I wasn't capable of
I know.
sustaining the relationship. I'll tell that story on some episode about
Right.
Taryn and I, but it's like I wasn't planning. I had never read a book on relationships.
Right.
Right? I had never realized my shortcomings and my faults. So I just think it's part of it's extreme ownership.
Yeah.
Part of it's like, am I doing what is going to be necessary of me to accomplish this goal?
And if you don't know what's necessary of you, you can find out. You can go and find out.
Yeah.
I mean, you and I earlier in the studio dialed in your finances because you write every day. What do you write every day? I am financially abundant.
I am mastering money.
I am mastering money. Okay, so that conversation Kevin and I had in front of the whiteboard
And
about,
financially free. I write
about
financially
money
free as well.
Was predicated on you setting an intention, which I think might start with hope, but then you jump to preparing of like, okay, I'm not just going to write this. I'm going to go learn this.
Well, and I won't go too into the details, but I was hoping that every increase in income would be an increase in comfort and financial freedom. Until I tracked the numbers today, and we're going to do an episode next Monday. And guys, this is going to be a powerful episode because I've been jeffing. And if I've been jeffing at something, everybody's jeffing at something, right? I just happen to be jeffing at this one thing
Right.
that a lot of other people might be jeffing
Definitely.
with too.
Yeah.
So it's super important. But it took me a little bit of pain to realize that, like, okay, I'm hoping that everything I'm doing is working. I just realized that hoping hasn't been doing it. It's now time for me to prepare. And what do? I ask Jeff number 2 over here, who's the finance guy, like, hey, can you take me through some things that you think would benefit me?
Yeah.
And I
Huge.
think, I don't know. I hoped for a lot of stuff in life. You know, and even the stuff that I ended up getting either wasn't the right stuff or I wasn't capable of keeping it because I never prepared for it.
So give an example of you hoped for stuff and when it came, you weren't prepared for it, because that's another thing.
I hope
You might get it and then not be able to sustain it. You know,
Yeah.
I know that my relationship with Emilia, if I didn't learn how to be vulnerable and open and heal some of those traumas from my past and get rid of some of my junk, and you've helped me with that.
I appreciate that.
Absolutely. I appreciate that.
It's been a pleasure.
It has. It's been. And I know that I wouldn't be able to have the relationship I have right now. In a weird way, I've been preparing my entire life for this relationship.
Right.
You know,
Yeah,
but
weren't you hoping for it for a long time?
it's a good point.
You know what I mean?
That's a good point.
You were hoping for it up until the time where we had the team call about, like,
Yeah.
you didn't even know it existed. Well, how could you be preparing for something you don't know exists?
You can't.
Right.
Yeah, that's a trip.
In a weird way.
Yeah, because I didn't believe that was out there, and I didn't set the intention in advance. I was hoping, I think.
I think many people, I did.
You know what's interesting? I think I was preparing for success my whole life. I think I was hoping for an amazing relationship. And then that moment is when I started shifting that. But I do remember learning in my last relationship a lot too.
Yeah.
Like trying to learn. So I don't know. It's, how do we tell the difference? How do we tell the difference? When someone's like, because I can tell the difference. When I meet somebody and I ask them, like, I was at lunch not long ago, and it was with some close friends, and I remember asking, this person about their job, and they told me about their job, and I remember asking, like, so, what's the next step, like, for you? Is it your boss's job? Are you going to start your own thing? Like, and the person, just said bluntly, like, no, I'm just like, I'm happy here. Like, I really like this. And in my head, I'm like, that's totally fine. I'm not judging it. But I kind of know that they're not striving for anything beyond the current.
Yeah.
So it's almost like if you and I were to decide, like, we don't want to grow the podcast anymore. We just kind of want to do what we're doing and, like, stay kind of where we are. It's that mentality. And I can tell in the moment by their tonality and their emotions that they don't, like, have the passion behind the saying, like, I'm going to do this or fucking die, pardon my French. But, like, you're going to see me at the top of the mountain or dead on the side of it with a smile.
I
Like
remember you used to say
that level of commitment. And I don't say that anymore because I don't think it communicates the right thing. But I do still feel that way inside me. And I wonder to myself sometimes if other people have that. And if they don't, like, you're not going to crawl through the mud if you don't have that. Like, and the mud is where all the learning comes to prepare.
I'm sure some people have it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Some people do. But I don't think those people would ever say they hoped. I don't
Right.
think they'd say they hoped they were going to be the greatest, public speaker of all time.
Yeah.
And
I
honestly,
intend.
Yeah, you can hope it. You can also say that too. I hope I will be, as long as you're putting the effort in. I think it's like in sports. It's what have you done for me lately? What is your last game? You're only as good as your last game. And when it comes to chasing your dreams, you're kind of only as good as your current behaviors. Right? So if you want to be the most successful podcaster of all time, that's going to require something a lot different than somebody who just wants to be a podcaster.
Right.
Give me a 15-minute call with you. You'll be a podcaster. I can get your podcast started for you in a week.
Yeah, but there's a big difference between being a podcaster and being a successful podcaster,
Yeah.
and then being an elite podcaster.
So
but that's the thing. Where do you even draw the line? Like, how do people know?
I think you have to start with one. I think you have to start with, I hope to be a podcaster.
Right.
Then I hope to be a successful podcaster. Okay, well, what would it take for that to actually happen?
Right.
Okay, then I hope that I can make this podcast profitable. Okay, what would that actually take? And then I hope to turn this podcast in my full-time career.
Yeah.
And then, so I think it's good to go from hope to prepare, hope to prepare, hope to prepare. I think that's probably how a lot of people, because I know for you believed it all along, so you've been preparing your whole life. Where I think for some, maybe people who didn't have that level of vision or didn't have that level of belief or ambition, that maybe for some people losing 10 pounds, I hope I can get into my wedding dress again. Okay, prepare for that. And then, okay, I only lost 10 pounds this time. I didn't get there. I hope I can lose 10 next time or 10 more next time. Then prepare. I think that's okay. Right? Because you're strategizing on emotion. But if you're only relying on the emotion to get you there, if you don't have a strategy, you can hope to sail across the ocean. If you don't know where you're going, you're not going to get there probably.
Right.
I'm sorry if this is hardcore. I feel like it's not that hardcore.
No, it's important.
But I do feel as if for most of my life, and that's one of the reasons I want to talk about that, because I remember what that was like to I hope this will work out. I hope this will happen. Some things will. Right? You can hope that I got the job. The interview went so well. There's nothing else I can do here.
Right.
So that's probably another. What can you control? Are you manipulating all the points that you can control? Or are you just saying I hope I catch a gust of wind here. It takes me across the ocean.
Yeah. It's a trip. It's hard for me to understand a little bit because, and I know we got to go here, but I think even in the intimate relationship arena, I always intended on having an incredible marriage. I remember my intentions early on were to be an incredible father. And it never felt it. I think there was bursts of hopelessness, but it never felt hopeless on the macro for me. Like I never really reached a point where it's like, I'm not gonna be able to do this. I think I did reach a point where it's like, I'm gonna have to choose between this version of me or that. And I think that felt hopeless. But in a weird way, I don't know if I've had hopes. I think I've had intentions that I intended to do. And I don't know if it's like when I started snowboarding, I didn't hope to get good. I chose I'm going to be the best I can be. I poured all of it in, and again, I can go to any mountain and I can snowboard it. Right. And it's not any mountain, but any normal ski resort, I should say. I'm not going to get out of a helicopter and do it with, Seth Westcott, but I think maybe I'm weird in that.
I think so.
I think, and I don't know if
in the best way. You're weird
this is one. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. I don't know if I can add much value to this one because I don't know if I ever had hopes. It was always intentions.
It's interesting because sometimes Alan will say all right, let's do this episode. And I'll literally be like, you're gonna have to run this, man, because I don't know.
Right.
If we're talking about exponential numbers and the way they add up, that's not my jam. I know 1 times 1, and then after that, it's like everything. It's just not for me, And I'm totally fine with letting you run it. And I think a lot of this was actually for me in terms of remembering what I thought I was going to have a successful life. My hope was to be like very successful. I had no idea how, and I never planned for it. Right? And again, this is the beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Hopefully, if you're watching or listening to this, you have a long, prosperous life where you have all these lessons and you have all these opportunities. And when you're 16, you think you're going to conquer the world and you have all these hopes. And when you're 31, like I am, you can look back on when you're 16 and be like, God, I didn't know a damn thing, but now I know a lot of things. I know way more than I used to. And now I know that I actually am prepping for the best future I can have every single day. Right. As I'm on this microphone, I'm prepping for my future. This is what I get to do to prep for my future.
Right.
So I just want to share that with you because maybe if you're 16, you're listening to this saying like, I hope I'm going to have a great marriage. Go pick up the 5 love languages. Yeah. Straight up. Do that. I hope I'm going to be financially free. Book a free call with somebody who is a financial master. Right? Do that. I hope I'm going to have the body of my dreams. Go get a personal trainer, whatever that takes.
Got to do it, yeah.
Because that means you're going from hope
to prep.
And honestly, like I think that's the most important thing.
So important. I couldn't agree more. And I think if you're out there and you feel like you resonate with what Kevin used to be like in terms of his hoping that it'll just work out, I got to say something. It won't just work out. I've seen this a million times. I remember when I was younger, I was always building my resume. And I remember looking at my friends' decisions and I remember having genuine like concern and hurt for them of like, you don't understand. You're okay with working at Pins right now, and that's fine, but that's not going to look good on a resume. You're not building towards something. And I feel like I've always been building. And I think that the last thing I'll say, and I, again, this isn't about me, but I do think some people are always building, and that's because they have a vision. They have a vision for a brighter future, and they're always building today towards that. If you don't feel that way, get around people who do. Because it's going to rub off on you. You're very much like that now, and that's awesome. But whenever we have these conversations, I'm always sitting there like, even when I had no idea what I was doing, I was still building.
Yeah.
You know, I was always trying to be the best I could be at everything I do. And I think that was inherent. And if you don't have that, that's okay. Get around someone who does. And I think it's going to help you tremendously.
For sure. Ladies and gentlemen, I said this on the last episode. I'm going to be saying, or the last few episodes, I'm going to be saying this for every episode up until the end of November. So times are obviously tough for a lot of people. COVID has taken a lot of people's jobs. Alan and I want to give back. So we're going to give away 5 $50 Amazon gift cards. All you have to do to be entered into this giveaway is leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, on the app, screenshot it, send it to Alan, myself, Amy, Tiff, or Natalie. You can send it to me. That's probably the easiest because I'll just keep track. And then as of December 1st, we're going to pick those 5 winners. We'll send you those Amazon gift cards. Literally that simple. We just want to add value to you guys. You guys allow us to do what we love doing. And without you guys, we wouldn't have a podcast because we'd just be 2 guys talking to ourselves, which sometimes we are, but still, you guys hear it, so it makes it worth it. So yes, we want to give back, and that's how we're going to do it.
I think one thing I want to say about that too is I think that Tony Robbins always says this. He says, giving is amazing when people get to experience it and not talk about it. So you don't have to do this, of course, but our intention with this is partly like it's the holidays, get the $50 gift card and give someone a nice gift and make them feel special, a thoughtful gift. You know, $50 isn't much, but the thought and effort you put into it can really change someone's Christmas. And I think if, you know, you're giving us a review, we appreciate it. We're giving you value on this show, and then you're going to give something to someone else. So it's just a win-win-win-win, giving. And I think once you experience I think that's part of why people love Christmas is because they get to give.
I love Christmas. Christmas is my favorite.
Right.
Just wait until as we get closer to Christmas, you're going to notice I'm going to get happier.
Yeah, I already am. I literally already am.
Christmas.
Also,
also,
Next Level Masterminds.
Yes.
So we have a featured guest every month, but this is really the important piece. Just like Next Level Nation, I've come to realize more and more each year, there's certain truths that as I grow and evolve become more and more apparent, and the one that always jumps off the page more than anything else is getting on a winning team. At the Next Level Masterminds, you're going to get a chance to interview guests we feature. You can ask us questions. We're going to come add massive value every Monday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And on top of that, you get to network and meet like-minded people by putting your Instagram handles in the chat. So many people have met one of my clients' husbands is now talking to one of my other clients from across the world and their peak performance partners because they met in a mastermind that we hosted. And so that's really what those are for. Please join us every Monday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
And it's very chill, too. Like, if you have a question 5 minutes in, raise your hand. Amy will either take your question through the chat. You don't have to talk. You don't have to have your screen on if you don't want. It's very chill. It's very casual. We're pumping value as we always do, but you don't have to be the center of attention if you don't want. It's a great opportunity to fear, chase, and learn. And we probably have to get out of here.
Pumping value.
Yeah, sometimes when you speak for 500 episodes, you're bound to say something wrong eventually.
Oh yeah, for sure. No,
and I
hilarious.
have many times.
At least
many
once.
times. All right, we're gonna get out of here.
Yeah.
Quick. What can help somebody get to the next level? Quick.
Oh, that's right. Get around someone who has a lot of vision.
Get around somebody who has a lot of vision. Cool. Put action into your intentions and don't hope that things will change. You can create change. Change is created.
Right.
Maybe it starts with hope, but there's action that comes after that hope. Ladies and gentlemen, we hope you enjoyed this. Up next, we are going to talk about, speaking of accountability partners, we are going to talk about how to find the right accountability / peak performance partner. So very important. And we will see you at the next level.
Talk to you soon.